cannot see the hot mess that is up in
all around
this office. Got my handy dandy notes on a paper bag. Hey guys, so it is week 9, and guess what? I have a special guest appearance of Coach Mary. She agreed to do this chat with me because it's kind of a long one, or it can be a long one, because we're talking about, like, this week is a big week about just living life, trade-offs, and what it pertains to your goals. So this week started off with the cost of getting lean, which is one of our favorite lessons because it's an article from Precision Nutrition and an infographic. And everybody loves an illustration because they can just absorb that information and understand it and relate it to their lives. So the infographic has a lot of good information because it breaks down habits of what people do in relation to their body fat percentage. So it literally has a little illustration of that person's body fat percentage, what that image might look like. And then off to the side, it says they do more of this and less of this type of thing. And so it goes from, you know, a high body fat percentage all the way to super lean body fat percentage. Now, we're not going to go through every single one of those, so if you want to, go look at that infographic and kind of see where you are and where you possibly want to be. So, you know, where we said it shows like a bigger scale, it's like we always say, at either end of the spectrum is unhealthy. Like, you don't want to be too far in either direction. So what's the first one? She's got it pulled up here.
First one.
The first one is unhealthy, and it's, so guys are greater than 20% and then ladies are greater than 30%. And that's typically somebody that is not conscious of what they're doing. You know, they probably, what do they eat more of? Like
more processed food, big portions. It says they do less of exercise of any kind.
Yeah, so they don't have movement as a habit. They don't want to, you know, it's just not part of their daily life. And so that's how people get to that type of unhealthy stage. But the jump between unhealthy to the next level is really not that much. It's level 1 type of habits. Yeah. So what's the next body fat percentage? And it's considered a healthy body fat percentage.
Yeah, it's 15 to 20% for the guys and 25 to 30% for the ladies.
Yeah. So that will get you, basically getting to that body fat percentage would be doing level 1 type of habits, just being more conscious of what you're eating. And I don't even know if it has too much activity in there.
No, it says exercise 3 to 5 times a week, but it's any activity you enjoy, so it doesn't have to be hardcore weights.
So like walking.
Yeah.
Yeah. It could be anything. It could be gardening, you know, stuff like that. So literally like where we would start out in clean kitchen, like those level 1 type of things. But so, and then the next jump up is just doing a little bit more. So you may be a little bit more practiced in the level 1 habits, you know, choosing even more, you know, greens or so in your habits. And so the jumps between the stages to lowering your body fat percentage, if you're practicing those level 1 type of simple habits, is not too strenuous to get you from.
This one even says you break a sweat, so that you're on the second level of healthy, and you're just now breaking a sweat. So
right?
It's not real strenuous.
So it's really true that you should move, like you should move, but you don't have to in just the beginning. And we always say we would much rather people get a handle on their eating habits before they even try to add the stressor of exercise, because I mean, don't you think that when people try to do both at the same time and they're drastic, or like
go from nothing to
all of it,
and so hating it, it's just too much at one time,
and so you're not. Your motivation only lasts for like what, a week or 2, and then you're like, dang, I'm tired.
And just like food, like you have to find the right foods you like to eat to be able to fill your habits, because you're eating stuff you don't like, you're gonna quit.
Right.
Just like exercise, you can't just jump into like hardcore exercise and hate it and think you're going to stick with it.
Yeah.
With movement, you still have to find something that you like.
So it's all about those baby steps. And that's all what Clean Kitchen is all about, is the baby steps. And so, you know, as it goes along, like, I guess the last one, we won't go to the next one. Y'all can read how the next jumps is usually probably into those level 2 type of habits and level 2 type of exercise. So the leaner you get, is technically the more work you have to do. And that's just the nature of the beast. But once you get to that type of body fat percentage, you like doing these things.
Yeah.
You know, it's not such a huge struggle bus, like, you know, from that first tier to trying to get to like the 20% body fat. Like, some people will start out, you know, 30% body fat and be like, I'm going to do habits of a 20% body fat person. And you're like, probably not going to work out in the long run for you sticking with it.
Yeah.
You know, so that infographic is really, really beneficial to help illustrate what you can strive to do more of depending on where you're at and what that next level could be, so you can stick with it. But so I do want to hit on that far end of the spectrum. So whereas like more than 30% body fat is on the unhealthy range, then you can go even too lean, and that be very destructive to your health. So we're talking about like
less than 6% for the guys, less than 16% for the ladies.
Less than 16% for ladies is like, that's figured,
so difficult.
Yeah,
to
that's
get there.
Yes, like you don't even. That's the level 3 type of eating habits that we touched on a little bit, but we don't even want to go there because that's psychotic, and it's not livable. I mean, like, it's funny to say that it's psychotic because it is. It makes people crazy because I feel like, number one, we are like in magazines and social media and stuff are sold that this extra lean is healthy.
It's not.
And when you're that lean on a magazine, you have eaten for level 3 type of eating habits and exercise, which basically means you have no social life and no cheats, no drinks, no nothing for like 12 weeks, maybe even longer.
Yeah, that says eat processed food or dessert once every 10 to 12 weeks.
So
that's just miserable.
Yeah. So you're basically eating like super strict, counting everything, measuring everything, working out when you feel like absolute crap because you are under eating and you're undernourished to get to that certain body fat percentage because your body wants body fat.
Yeah.
It helps your hormones. And so when we hang out in that middle area where we're not super lean and we're actually have squishy parts, like squishy parts are normal. Like you're supposed to have those things and you're not supposed to not jiggle. You know what I mean? Like, but we get in this mindset where we look at these people on a screen or in a magazine or wherever and we start comparing ourselves to what they have been eating for that one day to do the photo shoot.
Yeah.
You know, whereas we are living our life with, you got two kids
and
full-time jobs, you know, all the things, like
things at night,
activities, and kids getting sick.
Yeah.
Your kids just get sick.
Oh my gosh, all the time.
Yeah, like it's just not gonna. You didn't get enough sleep,
right? We slept like 3 hours that night.
You know, that type of stuff. So when you start comparing yourself, your body to people that have different lives or different priorities, like. It just can make you crazy and you feel like you have to do that level 3 type of eating, but that's not what health is. No. So if you are a person that is getting super lean, and in that that really low body fat percentage, other things can start messing up. So, like, you know, for ladies, like what I said, your hormones love fats. Fats are its food. Fats are healthy for your body, but like ladies, you'll start losing your period. You could anybody can get sores in their mouth if they're not like
So not worth it.
Vitamin deficiency because you're under eating
Yeah.
and you're only eating a certain type of food like rice, chicken, broccoli with nothing in it. You know, no salt, maybe muscle cramps. You know, like I'm painting a picture that's really terrible here, but
It should not be appealing.
I know. So I just want everybody to understand that it's not greener on the,
You don't actually want what the magazine says healthy.
and you don't want to trade off. You're not really willing to trade off what you have to do to get to that leanness. And so
it's not realistic for most of us, honestly.
Right. And so what was your line that you said the other day?
Oh, I said our health can't depend on
our
husband's choices.
We were talking about So we were talking about like trade-offs and and excuses. Like, people making excuses or justifications for stuff.
For why they choose the food they choose.
Right.
Or why they quit filling habits. Or
And really that's all your decisions, all your choices are trade-offs. Like you're going to decide, I want X more than I want this Y, And so you were talking to somebody about like, I have my limiting factor is Brian because he orders pizza like all the time, like every single weekend. Sacrifices, if I want to keep a certain, there it goes. If I want to keep a certain, energy level, feeling for my body, if I wanted to gain weight, I would eat pizza every weekend. But I don't really want to gain weight. I just want to stay, like I am. And so I have to make those trade-offs where I can't eat pizza every single weekend, and it's hard.
It is.
But you were saying that you can't base your food choices or your health. Essentially,
it is your food choices, but it's also your health.
It's your health choices based off of what your family is trying to. I don't want to say sabotage, but
because they're not trying to sabotage, they're just not willing to do the habits yet.
Right.
Or they don't care to
yet. Yeah. And
so
it's a little hard in the beginning to make those trade-offs when you're going against the grain. So you're going against the grain of the people that you're living with. And I think we talked about limiting factors and like having to figure out problem solving around that, and that's just part of it because you're either gonna make the better choice or you're gonna go with the path of least resistance. It's always either or. There's no gray area because your health is not going to sit in that gray area.
No.
It's going to go either direction. And you're going to have to make those trade-offs. So, like, with the holidays coming up, there's going to be a lot of excuses coming. And I'm not saying you can't, like, indulge on things, but we've talked about this before, like, planning ahead.
Oh, yeah.
And planning. So, like, Halloween is coming up.
That's what I did this week. So, we've had something every night this week starting this past Sunday, and I knew there were going to be opportunities for extra cheats all week. So Sunday at our first event, there was really delicious looking things like chocolate pretzels are one of my favorite things. But then there was apples and grapes. All I did was eat the apples and grapes because I knew the next night I had tennis, and I always want to eat something sugary after tennis, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that either. And we had T-balls, and we were gonna eat out. And then we've got a fall festival, and there's something every night this week. And then Saturday we've got a big block party, and
So what are you planning for the block party?
Yeah.
Are you going all in? Or
I'm going all in Saturday, but that's the trade-off for the rest of the week.
Right.
I'm not allowing myself any cheats all week. I'm sticking to my habits pretty strictly Sunday through Friday this week. Yeah. Because I know Saturday's just going to be.
It's just going to be a
party.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to feel guilty about it because I traded off all week. Yeah. And I'm going to get right back to my habits.
And it's the 80-20 mindset where you can have these indulgences and still make progress. It's just people fall into the trap of trying to justify every single indulgence. Like, well, my husband, well, my kids, well, my
sister's birthday.
Yeah, like all that stuff. Like, it's okay to say no and understand, like, I'm just saying no so I can say yes later.
Yeah, and nobody even realized I was saying no to all the food on Saturday or on Sunday at this thing we went to. Like, nobody realized I wasn't eating the junk. Like, it wasn't like, oh, why is she doing that? Like, I was the only one that knew.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah. And so planning ahead like we've said, like over and over and over, is key to your success, especially bouncing back from a Saturday, Halloween, that could be whatever. Because I know one thing that I've always said is that if you know you're going to have like a big, blowout or whatever, be prepared for the next day. Yeah. Like, have a plan, have food in your fridge ready to eat, where you don't have to use extra brain cells to go grocery shop, go cook when you just had a debacle, Like, we're having our Halloween party Friday night, and I know it's going to be a busy weekend. Like, we got the party, then we've got football on Saturday, trick-or-treating on Saturday, and then I'm taking down all those dang decorations on Sunday. So, it's going to be a crazy weekend, so I'm already preparing food to get me through that.
Absolutely.
So I can stick to my habits, and I don't have to trade off and go off the deep end for the rest of the weekend. Right. That's key. And so, you can talk trade-offs for the alcohol too, because that's another lesson that comes on. Let me look at my handy notes. Friday. The alcohol effect. Everybody's had this question: can I still drink alcohol while in CK? Well, I would just say, can I drink alcohol in life? Right. Because CK is just teaching you how to live. Personally, I'm not big alcohol drinker. Simply, not necessarily morally, like where I think that, you're a terrible person if you drink alcohol. Like, no. It's just, I don't really like the feeling that I have the day after. It doesn't matter if I drink 1 glass of wine or 3. Like,
it's not worth it
sometimes. I just can't do it. Like, my body doesn't react to it very well. But I will have, alcoholic beverages, like, on occasions. Like, if it's a, big celebration. I always say it's like once a quarter.
Yeah.
Like,
it has to be really worth it.
Yeah, like, so it's usually, like, Mardi Gras.
Okay.
When we go to, like, the Zeus ball.
Yes.
But even then, I'll only have, like, 1 or 2. It's not, like, not getting crazy. Then it's July the 4th.
Oh, yeah, you got to.
So there. And then, then it's, like, Halloween.
Uh-huh.
So, and then it's our Halloween party or whatever. But, I'm not one that has to do it at social gatherings and stuff like that. But it's only because I base my decision off of, like, how am I going to feel tomorrow? And what do I have to do tomorrow? But as far as, like, can you drink and still have progress, it depends on the person. So we break it down in that lesson where we tell you, we actually show you how many calories are in, like, 2 ounces or whatever of, like, vodka or whatever, or a glass of wine. And it's added calories to your week. So you need
it adds up fast.
And it adds up fast. So again, it's just perspective. Like, what is your goal? What can get you there faster? Yes, not adding extra calories to your diet would help you get there faster. But then also something that's really important about alcohol is that I don't know what the macronutrient's called, but it's like the 4th macronutrient.
Oh yeah.
That when you drink alcohol with, like, food, your body is signaled that it's a toxin, and it is going to go and try to burn that first. Right. So it's added calories, but then it's also a macronutrient that's not feeding your cells right. So it's not adding
anything
nutrients
to you.
Yeah. It's just, it is being, like, burned or stored as like a macronutrient, like as energy, like a calorie, but it's not adding anything good to you. So that's why you feel like crap.
Right.
And you don't function as well. But that lesson kind of breaks it down of, like, how many drinks a week you could have, just general. Everybody's different, but that's a good lesson, and that comes on Friday. The other lesson, and we'll be wrapping this up because I know it's probably I told her we would go too long on this.
That's fine.
It's turning failures into lessons. And that's a big one. Like, that is a big one. Because we just talked about, like, practicing trade-offs, like the choices, like yin and yang of all this is failing and learning from it,
that's
and
why,
deciding to learn
That's
from
why
it.
I can choose the trade-offs now easier.
Yeah.
Because I failed. I did Clean Kitchen in 2015, so it's been 6 years.
Yeah.
I did the fall Clean Kitchen. So doing the trade-offs and like not trading off as many things early on has taught me that it's a lot better for me to do the trade-offs now, and it's a lot easier to choose that because I've failed so many times and like know how bad I felt.
So you're saying like you were you saying you were trying to be too strict and didn't allow yourself like
that and also
grace in a way?
Because when I did Clean Kitchen, I didn't cheat the whole 12 weeks and it was awful.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Well, I mean, there's some people that are doing that, and you know, there are people that need that, like where they can reset, but then there's our people, you know, like me included, that need a breathing room.
Yeah.
You know, and so you go ahead.
But then I've also gone too far the other way where I have made too many trade-offs.
Oh yeah,
and
like did too much into that 20%.
Yes.
Yeah,
and then but it's made me learn what my 20% is. You know,
correct.
And that has helped me with the trade-offs and knowing what to choose and what not to choose and how much of something to choose.
You learn how to read your own body.
Yes, but that's where the lessons have come from those failures.
Right.
And maybe it wasn't a failure. I guess it was a failure, but was it really if I learned from it? I don't know.
There we go. Well, so like later on in the challenge, week 12, we talk about like what is 20% or what is your 20%?
That's one of the most common questions too.
And we have two lessons where it's like, how do you find your 20%? Like, what is it? Because everybody's like living for that 20% when you really should be living to fill the 80%.
Right.
And when I say 80-20, I mean 80% as in figuratively, like this is what I do. You know, 20% is just Halloween, Saturday.
Yes.
You know,
Saturday's gonna be
like
my 20%.
whatever. And it's not like I'm focusing on like, oh, this is going towards my 20%. No, I am focusing on the good majority of the time, and then when things pop up, like I want to have a drink at dinner or a dessert or whatever, that's 20%. You know, it's a mindset. And so, you know, that's where it's just trade-offs. It's figuring out what affects your body, and then your trade-offs get more fine-tuned.
Absolutely.
Just like what you said.
It's taken me 5-6 years to like really fine-tune it. I mean, it probably took about 4.
Yeah.
To really figure out what my 20% was and know, like, I can do this and I'm going to be okay. I'm not going to feel so bad the next day where I can't function.
Yeah. And that's, and we talk about that. I say it's more of a feeling.
Yeah.
Than it's an actual number.
Right.
You know, and so that's where you're at. That's what the journey is figuring out what works for your body. And it's not necessarily a finite number, but more of a feeling for you, and you know, understanding how your body reacts to certain foods, or eating certain foods, or not eating certain foods,
even different types of alcohol. Because I've even figured that out too. There's certain things I can drink and feel better the next day than
not. Yeah, and that's how you make your choices.
Yeah.
Yay! Light bulbs.
It's trial and error.
Yeah. So there's not failures, there's only lessons.
Right.
And we will wrap it up right there. Sorry that one went a little long. But
she may not bring me back.
No, I like having somebody to talk to. I told her, I was like, you're going to have to like elbow me if I get on a rant and like she doesn't get to talk. But thank you, Mary, for joining me today.
It was fun.
So we're getting close, guys. Week 10 is next week.
Yay.
Can't wait to see what the aftermath of Halloween is. I have had people not eat a single thing of candy. I did that last year.
I guess I did that 6 years ago.
I did that last year. And it was just because I am like, this is what I do. I buy candy that I don't actually like.
Oh, that's genius.
Yeah, like I love Starburst and Skittles.
Yuck.
I'm a fruity
I gotta have
person.
chocolate.
Okay, so I bought all chocolate
Oh,
for
gosh.
yeah. So you can just come to my house and I'll give you. But I buy candy that I'm not super tempted by.
Yeah.
I'll eat chocolate, but it's not like, oh, I gotta have it. But like, if there's the little 2-pack of the Starburst, you know, I open it up, and if there's a pink one,
you have to eat it.
I have to eat it. It was like, oh, Jesus said,
Here is your
your little gift. But then I like open packs until I find the pink one. So it kind of defeats the purpose.
gets
Like,
a lot of
gee,
control.
and then if I open like 10 and I'm like, I know what you're saying. I
Don't eat the
understand.
Starburst.
But, you know,
It happens.
whatever. All right, guys. We're ending it. Okay, have a good rest of the week, and we'll see y'all next week for week 10. Bye-bye.
Bye.